Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Superstars of Wrestling review series for the beginning of 1993, specifically January 2nd, 93. My goal for today, if my schedule allows, is to get through at least January and February, perhaps March. I've watched up to the beginning of April in Superstars land, but we'll see where my schedule takes me today. Lots of things on tap and don't know how everything's going to pan out. But anyway, we open with the January 2nd edition of Superstars, Mr. Perfect and the Berserker as an opening contest. Interesting clash of styles. Obviously, the Berserker a brawler. Hennig, a.k.a. Mr. Perfect, certainly more technical. Just an interesting way to start off 1993, the second day of 1993. Not a match I remember watching as a kid, so my memories of wrestling at the time are a little less vibrant than my memories of 89 through 92, which is my hardcore fandom, as a kid anyway. 93 through 95, I stopped losing. I started to not have as much interest, although I remember major angles, but not specific matches or anything unless they were pay-per-views. Anyway, Brawl started by Berserker. Berserker manages to lead Hennig into running into the post almost immediately. Berserker tries to chop off the head of Curt Hennig with the sword. It bounces back off the steel post and manages to ricochet and hurt the Berserker in the process. Hennig with a backdrop over the top rope, and Ric Flair makes his way out. Of course, Flair literally weeks away from being eliminated from the WWF on Raw in a career-ending match. Flair goes back to WCW by February of 93. So by the end of January, he leaves at the hands of Curt Hennig, and that's what they're kind of setting up here. Hennig goes to the outside, fights back. Amazing to me that, Hennig had just been back since November, and they're already kind of giving him, not that the Ric Flair match is a demotion, but even by WrestleMania 9, his feud with Luger, I think to a degree, a bit of a demotion. Berserker gets the falling forward slam, and momentary, but Hennig hits the perfect flex 1, 2, and 3. I don't remember that many pinfall losses for the Berserker at the time, so that's kind of big. Anyway, update with Bobby Heenan. Bobby Heenan basically says behind the curtain is Narcissus. Talks about him being an Adonis. Talks about him being great. Talks about Ric Flair taking care of Curt Hennig. Talks about the unveiling of Narcissus at the Royal Rumble and what that looks like and all of that. George Anderson and Yokozuna up next. And we're already promoting the Royal Rumble about 3 weeks away. Yokozuna, of course, in this, I guess, induction and part of 1993, basically unstoppable through, April? Winning the championship at WrestleMania 9, of course. Losing it to Hulk Hogan and then winning it back and holding it for a longer span of time. But Yokozuna, unstoppable at this point. And they are playing with different gear. The red and white sumo outfit, sumo garb. Yoko immediately goes after his opponent here. Hits the belly-to-belly suplex, which I'm sorry, there ain't no way I want to take that. Big leg drop by Yokozuna. I'd rather take the leg drop, honestly, than the suplex if I'm an enhancement talent, or if I'm a regular talent. Yokozuna potentially falling on me, no thank you. And then we see another suplex by Yoko. And Earthquake talks about going at it with Yokozuna. They're eventually set for a sumo match on Raw, I believe. And keep in mind, Raw is debuting in 9 days from this moment. The first Raw, January 11th, 1993, after several years of primetime wrestling and house shows before that on the USA Network. Then Yoko hits the bonsai drop, 1, 2, 3, gets the victory, and out we go. The event center, Tatanka and Bam Bam Bigelow and Bob Backlund all talk about the Royal Rumble, the hype for the Rumble again, Rumble 3 weeks away. And Tatanka talks about doing it for the Braves, doing it for the Native American tribes, and the feeling led and called to win for them. Bob Backlund talks about thanking the fans. Very humble. I can understand why Bob Backlund's promos in 78 to 83 were not exactly money draws. He's just so humble. He's almost whispering into the camera. And then Bam Bam Bigelow talks about being the beast from the East and being the guy who's going to win the Rumble. He likes that style of match. Tom Stone and Marty Jannetty up next. Stone and Jannetty is, I believe, one of Jannetty's first matches back. Jannetty, of course, ends up fighting for the Intercontinental Championship at the Royal Rumble. That's a pretty big deal. Goes after Tom Stone. Stone's been around for a couple of years, on and off with the promotion as an enhancement talent. Baseball slide drop kick, and then Jannetty dives over the top with a crossbody / pescado. Jannetty goes to town, continues going to town. Doink the Clown in the aisleway. We have not seen Doink do a whole bunch of damage quite yet. He does end up doing a good bit, but that's throughout the next few months here. And then Stone takes over on Jannetty just a little bit. Jannetty, though, hits a takedown and a drop toe hold and the like. Jannetty fights back to his vertical base. Pretty big deal for Jannetty. Back leg kick, and eventually Jannetty, who does eventually become the Intercontinental Champion later in the year, May of this year, actually. One of the better matches on Raw the first year, anyway. I actually like Raw through about the beginning of 98. And then by the time Austin's won the championship in 98, my fandom is majorly dropping. I'm an independent guy, but not liking the national product on either show. Still an ECW fan at that point, though. Anyway, Jannetty with the top rope fist drop and the victory. Damien Demento against Mitch Bishop up next. Bishop, a relative newcomer in the area. And we kind of see Demento continuing to talk to himself, continuing to talk to the sky, kind of going in a direction of just being nuts. Damien Demento, as mentioned before, Mondo clean in the New England Independence and IWCCW area. IWCCW, I believe, done by this point, although the Savoldis do keep a promotion running well into the 2000s. NWA on Fire, NWA on the Mountain, something like that up in the Maine area. Anyway, headbutts by Damien Demento. Demento with several shots, neck breakers, and the like, elbow drops. He's pretty intense of a character, although he doesn't last very long. I think he's gone by the second half of 93, maybe the end of 93 at longest. So about a year's run for Damien Demento. People remember him quite well. Clothesline takes the head off. Bit more of a competitive match than one would expect for an enhancement style contest here. Kind competitive just because the enhancement talent takes a good bit of punishment. They go several minutes. Again with the neck breaker, and I believe that is your finish off the second neck breaker by Demento. Gets a 1, 2, 3, and good to go. Then we move to Mean Gene Okerlund's Royal Rumble report. Basically, he's going through the Rumble. Bret Hart and Razor Ramon obviously has already been announced. Hart talks about wanting to get Razor, talks about being a fighting champion, talks about, Razor going after family, Razor going after him, jumping him from behind and the like. That's a pretty big deal. Then they go into the Jimmy Hart calling Money Incorporated the best tag team he's ever managed. The potential of Money Inc. to have to fight each other as tag team champions in the Rumble, both men not wanting to fight each other. And then we go to Ric Flair. Flair says he won the Rumble last year. He wants Curt Hennig. He's going to go after Curt Hennig. He's going to eventually get to be the winner again. The Steiners, who have yet to make a debut, they actually debut, I believe, the next week here, managed to talk about wrestling the Beverly Brothers. Steiner Brothers, Beverly Brothers in the Royal Rumble, which was a good match, by the way, for those interested. Then we move to Crush versus Dave Seitz. Crush, again, a guy who really has been pretty much Dave Sid Fitz. Anyway, Crush, backbreakers and Tilt-A-Whirls does the military press slam and the cranium crunch to end things. Superstars discuss the Royal Rumble as the Beverly Brothers talk about taking on the Steiners, talk about being the best brother team. Steiners being, they don't call them overrated, but that's the inference of the promo. Papa Shango talks about fearing Voodoo, fearing Papa Shango winning the Royal Rumble. The Undertaker talks, Paul Bearer actually, for The Undertaker talks about burying 29 other individuals, laying them all out, and The Undertaker getting a shot at the main event at WrestleMania. Then we move to Crush reacting to Doink the Clown. Basically, Crush warned the Clown, who interfered with him on the way back from the ring. Ray Rougeau, former Rougeau brother, not the Mountie, not to be confused, manages to get a promo from Crush. Crush talks about, wanting to manage to be able to get rid of Doink. He has family that is a clown, and he is unhappy with Doink's behavior. Anyway, that will close us for today. We'll be back with more right after this.